Let's draw our own line in the sand. The Rusty Humphries Show.
Hey, welcome back. It is the Rusty Humphries Show. That phone number, 1-800-449-TALK. Don't forget to check us out on the web, talk2rusty.com. Facebook, make sure you become a Facebook friend. It's Rusty Humphries, RUSTYHUMPHRIES. We are testing video. Hopefully it's working now. We'll try it again soon, but go to my Facebook page. You can see you can be a part of the test. We are going to the Middle East, Tel Aviv, Israel, where Aaron Klein is. Aaron, welcome back to the Rusty Humphries Show. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Okay, of course, Aaron Klein from WorldNet Daily, WND.com. His new book, The Late Great State of Israel, is climbing those book charts, doing great. Aaron, okay, there was a big riot, and of course it's the Israelis' fault. How dare you make those poor Palestinians throw rocks at the Israelis? What in the world is going on there?
I'll tell you, and just to apologize for the background, unfortunately I'm in Tel Aviv and it's very loud here. I'm outside. So you're talking about on Sunday where there was a riot on the Temple Mount, which to Jews is the holiest site in Judaism. And if you watch CNN, which I did, or if you read the mainstream media like the Associated Press and Reuters, which I did, it says that violence erupted on the Temple Mount. And then they painted some picture that the way it started was the Israeli security forces opened fire on Palestinian protesters on the Temple Mount. No, that's not what happened. Actually, the Palestinian Authority, that would be the so-called moderates, the peace partners, they incited the riots. They incited the violence by, for the last few weeks, they've been claiming on their media that right-wing Jewish extremists are threatening to march on the Temple Mount. And actually that they're threatening the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which would be that dome-shaped thing on the Temple Mount that Muslims claim now is the third holiest site in Islam. So
not the golden dome, but the other one.
The other one, the brown one. They say that that's
right.
where Muhammad ascended to receive night vision prophecy from Allah. And so the Palestinians basically incited the riots, claiming that Jews were going to march on the Temple Mount. And then get this, a few hours before the riots started on Sunday, so the Jerusalem police, they have footage of Palestinian young men gathering rocks together for the protest, pouring oil on the ground, obviously to make the Israeli security forces slip. And then they started the riots. So that's actually what happened, not that the Israelis started. And by the way, this whole claim that there's Jews and Jewish extremists that are threatening the mountain, they're going to get up there, it's ridiculous because you've been there, I've been there. Jews are not even allowed up on the Temple Mount except an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening. We're not allowed to pray up there.
And a lot of Jews don't go up there because it's against some rabbis say that's a bad thing to do. I mean, this whole thing is silly and ridiculous. And then I watched you on Al Jazeera yesterday. They had a Palestinian guy and then you, so that was supposed to be the left and right. And then they had the arbiter of goodness and light, and that was some guy from the Bill Clinton administration. And what a hack that guy was.
It was unbelievable. I went on Al Jazeera, which is actually believe it or not, they have a larger audience than ABC, NBC, and CBS combined because the Arabs in the Middle East, they only have two options for television. They have Al Jazeera, and then they have another one called Al Arabiya. So this is a network that is on in all the Arab countries in the Middle East. They claim that 120 million people watch it. I don't know if that's real or not, but a lot of people do watch it. And I went on with this guy, Alistair Crook, who was a member of the Clinton administration that actually investigated. Remember back in September 2000 when violence started on the Temple Mount, when Ariel Sharon went up there to visit. He was the prime minister. And then the United States and a lot of other people claimed that it was Sharon that went up on the Mount, and this is what started the violence, and this is what started in 2000, what was known as the Intifada. Actually, it's ridiculous because Yasser Arafat, the chief of the PLO, admitted that the Intifada, that would be the terrorism, the violence, was pre-planned. They planned it ahead, and they're doing it again now. So I went on and I contradicted this guy, and again, he's a member of the United States Clinton investigating team, and I don't know what exactly he investigated because the Palestinians admit that they started the violence, and today once again, they're doing the same thing. And I'll tell you, the Obama administration is involved. This is not just happening in a vacuum. It's not that the Palestinians wake up and say, hey, we're going to start violence on the Temple Mount. It actually comes as the Obama administration wants to start talks between Israel and the Palestinians. And actually, Obama called a few weeks ago for Israel to end the occupation that began in 1967, which basically references Jerusalem and the Temple Mount. So I think the Palestinians want to send a message to Israel, want to send a message to the world, give us what we want, and if not, as usual, we will start violence against you.
You know what I was thinking? I thought this would be kind of fair. Aaron Klein from WorldNet Daily, since that's their third holiest site of Islam, right? Jerusalem, third holiest site. And they want the Jews to give up most of it. I was thinking, let's make it fair and have the Muslims give up Mecca, half of Mecca and half of Medina, and then the Jews can give up half of Jerusalem.
Exactly.
You think that would go over real well?
No, because they've rejected every such compromise. You look back in the 1920s, before Israel was even founded, and actually you had different partition plans that would have given the Arabs a lot of Jerusalem, including the Temple Mount. They rejected it. In 2000, the Palestinians were handed a state in the Gaza Strip, West Bank, Jerusalem. They rejected it. 3 years ago, they rejected it. So very clearly, it's not going to work. And I'll tell you, actually, Jews and you, Christians, you're not allowed into Mecca. You can't get in. So they control everything, and they're extremely racist, and then they turn around and claim that it's the Jews or the Christians that are the real racists.
Aaron Klein here on the Rusty Humphries Show. By the way, you have a story in today's WorldNet Daily about an Arab professor. What did the Arab professor say about Tel Aviv?
He says that it's okay to blow yourself up in Tel Aviv, but it's not okay to blow yourself up in Saudi Arabia. And this is a Saudi professor, actually, Saudi Arabia, moderates, the ones that the United States is involved with, billions of dollars of financial aid. And I'll tell you, Saudi Arabia might be really key because Israel, if they target Iran, would need to basically fly over Saudi Arabia and would need technically permission from the Saudi government to do that. So I think a lot of people in Saudi Arabia are not too happy about that fact.
Yeah, this is what he said. Someone who blow himself up amidst the enemy is different from someone who blow himself up in safe place. Blowing oneself up in Tel Aviv is not like blowing oneself up in Riyadh. Explosive belts are legitimate when they are used against colonialist aggressors. Let me reiterate, colonialist aggressors, the ones who cross the continents and the oceans in order to invade the lands of the Muslims. Well, gosh, as I recall, the Jews were there before there was even such a thing as a Muslim.
Yeah, actually, that was another part of the story, that a lot of these places that the Jews are accused of occupying and taking, like the eastern sections of Jerusalem, actually, the Jews historically were there, and some local Arabs, and now all the Jews want to do is reclaim their rights to this area. If you look back, it was in 1929, Arabs had riots that kicked the Jews out of the eastern sections of Jerusalem. So we talk about occupation, and we talk about Jews stealing Palestinian land. No, this was Jewish land, and it's history. Constant in not just the Palestinian area, throughout the Arab world, they deny history, they rewrite history, they change things, and the media in the United States just, in a way, they're like that Saudi professor, and they can't see the difference. They can't see how good is different from evil, and it extends to their coverage of the Middle East, and I think it extends to their coverage of the Obama administration now as well.
Yeah, Aaron Klein here on the Rusty Humphries Show. All right, you're in Tel Aviv. It's going crazy over there right now. It's what? It's Tuesday night. Why is it so crazy? Or Monday night?
Yeah, I don't know. I always thought that here in Israel they all went out on Thursday night and Friday night, but here it's a Tuesday night, and I'll tell you, the streets are popping. Tel Aviv is a really cool city, and everybody listening should come. Don't listen to the propaganda that it's dangerous. Believe me, it's safer than New York City or Miami, or whatever city you're listening to me in right now.
Are you? Are you at the chocolate man, the bald man with the chocolate, or whatever?
I kid you not, Rusty. I am literally across the street from the bald man with the chocolate, from Max Better, in a restaurant across the street from that. Actually,
is that the one? That's the one where we had the bacon cheeseburger.
Yes, that's where I am.
Okay.
I kid you not. I'm there.
Yeah, I had to have a bacon cheeseburger in Israel just because I could, because it's like the only place in the country you can get them.
Yeah, Tel Aviv is the city of sin. Jerusalem, you can't get anything like that. Tel Aviv, whatever you want, when you want it, it's like New York City. It's actually sometimes worse than New York City with that stuff.
Yeah. All right, Aaron Klein, it's always a pleasure. Again, the book, The Late Great State of Israel, it's out there. It's a great book if you want to learn about the state of Israel and why it's important. Late Great State of Israel by Aaron Klein. WorldNetDaily.com is where you can read Aaron. Also, you're on Twitter. What's your Twitter thing where people can follow you?
Yeah, my Twitter is Aaron Klein WND. Aaron Klein WND is on WorldNet Daily.
All right, Aaron, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you for